we are back with a highly requested Kindle Unlimited video, part 2. We have done one of these videos before, but it's been a while, and a couple of you guys have been asking for an updated version, so that's what we're gonna do today.
If you didn't know, Kindle Unlimited is a monthly subscription service where you have access to hundreds of ebooks and some audiobooks. We both have the Kindle Paperwhite, and I did not bring mine. I'm so upset too, because we had a whole video where we decorated them, and we use our Kindles all the time. You do not need an actual Kindle device though. For a long time, I would just do Kindle Unlimited on my phone, but I have since upgraded to a Kindle and I actually really like it. So today we're going to talk about some books we want to read on KU along with some recommendations. All the ones we're going to talk about today we know are available on US Kindle Unlimited. I don't know if other countries are different, but I think UK has some different ones, so bear with us. First, we're going to talk about books we have on our KU TBR, and then we'll get into the recommendations, so stick around for that.
Some that I'm really excited to read on Kindle Unlimited are the Bridgerton books. I have been such a Bridgerton girly, and I didn't think I was going to be, but I like binge watched that entire show, and I know a lot of people have been saying the books are really different from the TV show, and I feel like as a reader I have to see what everyone's talking about. And they do have the first 3 books on Kindle Unlimited. I hope that's not going to mess it up for me though, because I don't want to be like, oh, the series isn't as good, because I'm obsessed with the series, but like I have to know. Now I'm over here debating whether or not I should read this series. So if you have read the series and watched the series, let me know. Do you think it's a good idea for me to read the books, or do you think it could possibly mess it up for me?
First book I wrote down that I really want to read is Things I Wanted to Say by Monica Murphy. This is book 1 in the Lancaster Prep series. I know that A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime is the book in the series that kind of blew up everywhere, and we do own that second book, but I need to read this first one. I know that they're technically standalones, but this one takes place first, so I want to read this on KU. It says Whit Lancaster is the cold, heartless, and devastatingly handsome bad boy at Lancaster Prep. Beautiful Summer has no time for Whit, but his intense gaze traps her under a spell. When Whit gets into trouble one night, Summer invites him in, tends to his wounds, and lets her guard down just for a moment, which is when Whit takes off in the dead of night, taking her journal with him. Like, you're gonna steal my diary? Now he holds all of her darkest secrets, threatening to expose her to the entire school. So Summer strikes a deal with Whit, a deal that leaves her at his mercy behind closed doors. But what if he's at hers? Okay, it's kind of funny. Like, I took your dream journal and now I know all your secrets, so I'm gonna get you to do things for me. It could be cute. We'll see where it goes.
You're gonna read this one and not like it and then not care to continue the series. Let her know if you think.
Let me know if you've read this first book. No, I mean, I think
it could be necessary.
It could be cute.
Another one I want to read on Kindle Unlimited is The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. I do own the first 2 books in this series, but I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of over it, so I want to read it on Kindle Unlimited first and see if it's something that I feel like I need to own. I know this book has a time jump from the first 2 books, and I didn't see the best reviews on this book. I feel like a lot of people thought the story should have just been done and over with, so this feels like the kind of book that's perfect to read on Kindle Unlimited to see if it's necessary for me to get the copy. But they do have so many Frida McFadden books on Kindle Unlimited. If you've been thinking about reading her, KU would be the perfect place to do it.
The next book I'm excited to read on here is The Sword of Tigan by M.L. Wang. I have heard amazing things about this book, so I couldn't believe that it's on there. I know this is a really popular epic fantasy. There's a lot here in the summary, so I'll just read a little bit, but it says, there's a mother struggling to repress her violent past, a son struggling to grasp his violent future, a father blind to the danger that threatens them all. When the winds of war reaches their peninsula, will the Matsuda family have the strength to defend their empire, or will they tear each other apart before the true enemies ever even reach the shores? So we're getting a lot of like family dynamic here. Maybe this will be like a very character driven story. I don't know. This does kind of remind me of the Poppy War though, a little bit. This was one I was really excited to see on KU though.
Another one I am so excited for is Play Along by Liz Tomford. Y'all have already heard me rave about this author in this series, and this has been one of my most anticipated reads for this entire year. But it says, I'm the only woman on staff for the Windy City Warriors, and after years of putting up with a sexist lead doctor, I'm desperate to land my dream job with a new team next year. All I have to do is maintain my professional reputation for my final season in Chicago. But a Las Vegas run-in with the team shortstop threatens it all, leaving me with a fuzzy memory and a ring on my left hand. Now not only am I legally bound to the most persistent man I've ever met, but thanks to Isaiah's scheme to save my job, I have to pretend the whole thing was a planned elopement and not a drunken mistake. That sounds good.
That does sound good.
Y'all know I've loved all the books in this series, so I'm ready for this one to be my new favorite.
If there's one thing Kindle Unlimited's gonna have, it's some dark romances. This one is a dark gothic fantasy romance, and it's called Fairytale by Veronica Lancet. I have recently seen someone recommend this on Book Talk, so I was really excited to see it's on KU. It says 1955. Darcy is an orphaned English teacher from Boston, and she receives a letter that her biological father has passed away. She is surprised to find herself included in his will, with one condition: she must travel to Fairytale to attend his funeral. With the promise of a sizable inheritance, Darcy decides to journey to the small coastal town that holds the secrets of her birth. But the moment she steps foot in Fairytale, things start to go amiss. Odd residents, odd rumors, odd deaths. Everything about Fairytale is odd, including the brooding Caleb Hale, part of the infamous Hale family. Why is it always Hale as last name? Have you noticed that?
Hale's hot.
During the day, she falls deeper and deeper under his spell as he forces her to step out of her comfort zone. But at night, it's another man who haunts her dreams. It says it's a dark gothic historical romance with horror, paranormal, and fantasy elements. It's not a typical love triangle, and it's not suitable for anyone under the age of 18. This sounds good. This sounds like a love triangle I could get behind, because it's not like, oh, my friend and like someone at school. This is like some man who lived 2 centuries ago and this brooding guy in the town. Like, that sounds good. I'm interested.
So Jacob and Edward?
Period.
So an author I want to read on Kindle Unlimited is Penelope Douglas. I've never read any of their books before, but I know they have a little bit of a different taste for romance books. But I keep finding myself getting a little bit tired of the same old rom-coms that I tend to read, and I want something a little bit crazy. They have Credence, Birthday Girl, and Punk 57, so I have a lot of different options to pick from, but I'm interested in starting a book by them.
Next book I have is Bewitched by Laura Thalissa. I have also heard some good things about this one. I believe it's like a fantasy romance, but I love the idea that there's a coven. At age 20, Celine desperately hopes to be accepted into Henbane Coven, an academy for young witches. Since one of the requirements for entry is to connect with her powers via quest through the wilderness, Celine books a trip to South America. When a nefarious supernatural force tries to drag her plane from the sky, Celine's magic awakens to save her life at a cost. Using her powers devours her memories one by one. That is interesting. What do you mean? So to be able to use your powers, you're losing memories? That's kind of insane. That's not even a risk that I would necessarily want to take.
Like, instead of it draining you, it's like
taking your memories? That's sad.
Interesting.
Worse, when Celine braves the jungle and discovers the source of the attack, she finds herself awakening an ancient evil, the cursed who mistakes Celine for his long-dead wife, the wife who betrayed him. She could not catch a break! So not only is she gonna be losing her memories while she's trying to fight off this creature, but he thinks she's his ex-wife who betrayed him. At the end, she's probably gonna think she's a wife too, because she's not even gonna remember anything.
That's a good concept.
It's a good concept, but I hope we get to see the academy. Like, I'm excited for the witch school. This sounds like this is everything before the witch school, so we'll see.
A book that I found myself wanting to read, I actually unhauled a long time ago, and I regret it every day, but it is The Things We Leave Behind by Rebecca Yarros, who is also the author of Fourth Wing. And this one is a historical fiction romance, which is interesting because that's very different from Fourth Wing. This has told in alternating timelines, the things we leave unfinished examines the risk we take for love, the scars too deep to heal, and the endings we can't bring ourselves to see coming. I think it would just be interesting to read something else from this author in a whole different genre.
The next book I have is the Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, and this is Gods and Monsters Book 1. This book? I think I just like the cover. I know this is a whole series though. It says World Ender meets Ender of Worlds. 1,000 years ago, Diana gave up her life in the deserts to save her dying sister. She called upon anyone who would listen, not expecting a monster far worse than any nightmare to answer. Now she does what Caden asks, even if that means securing an ancient relic from the very creatures that haunt her. This one gives me the vibes of the last one. Like ancient relics and quests and things. Our other character is a king thought long dead and forgotten. He is the World Ender, a myth to his enemies, a savior and king to those loyal to him. After the gods' war, he locked himself away, hiding from the world. He denied his crown and responsibilities, leaving the very ones who needed him most to deal with the fallout of the death of their homeworld. Now an attack on those he holds dear sends him back to the one realm he never wished to visit again, and into the sights of the enemy he thought imprisoned eons ago. It sounds interesting though. That's what I think KU is good for. Books that sound interesting and you think like, I think I might like that, read it on KU.
Before spending all your money.
And honestly, I need to get back to that. Reading the books before I buy them.
Or reading the books we already bought.
Right.
So those are just some of the books that we've had our eye on KU. Of course, there are so many more, but now we want to get into KU recommendations.
They actually have a lot of books that we've read and have already recommended that are on KU and we had no idea. We decided to group these again by genre.
So we're going to start with romances. So we have a whole list here. So up first, we have Bodyguard and Rom-Comers by Catherine Center. We love Catherine Center. I actually read both of these books this year and I really enjoyed them. So these are perfect books if you're not a fan of spice, but you still want a really good plot.
I was surprised to see they have the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. That would be a great place to read them because there's so many of them.
They also have Archer's Voice. That book was really popular a while ago, but it's really good. You gotta read it.
And they also have the Addicted series, which is insane because there's like 8 books. So that would be a great place to read them.
They have Icebreaker and Wildfire by Hannah Grace, but only till September 30th. So now is the time to read them on KU if you haven't yet. They have my favorite romance series, which is the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. Y'all already know. They also have the first 3 books in the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. And then they have a bunch of Abby Jimenez and Tessa Bailey books on KU as well.
Up next, we have the fantasy genre, and they actually just recently added Fourth Wing. If you have yet to read that book and you've been interested, you can now do that on KU, which is amazing. They also have a couple different V.E. Schwab books. I saw Secret Life of Addie LaRue, and they also have like the Vicious series on there.
They do have some of our Literal Besties Book Club books on here. So they have the Divine Rivals duet, and then they also have Assistant to the Villain, which we just read last month. They also have the first book in the Folk of the Air series, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I read that so long ago.
They also have the Shepherd King duet. I just recently recommended this for the fall time, so they have that on KU. They also have the Poppy Award trilogy, Jade City I saw on there, Belladonna, and there was a couple that I haven't even read yet, but I know are super popular if you want to read on there, which was To Kill a Kingdom, Wayward, and the Shadow and Bone series.
Now we're going to move on to mystery thrillers. So we're going to start with Alex Michaelides. They have The Silent Patient, which is my favorite book from him. They also have Razor Blade Tears, which was such a crazy read, as well as Hidden Pictures, which kind of has some horror in there, so that would be a good one for spooky season.
They also have What Lies in the Woods, which you guys know I loved last year, and they also have a bunch of Sally Hepworth books, so definitely check them out on there. I know Darling Girls and The Soulmate are on there, and those 2 are my favorite. Our last grouping we kind of just put as other because they didn't fit in the other categories, but they do have the Inheritance Games book 1, so that along with The Cruel Prince, that's a good one to like read the first books in the series to see if you want to buy the box sets. They also have the entirety of the Vicious Lost Boys, which I just recently read. Those I think were really entertaining and fun. They weren't anything crazy, but this would be the perfect place to read it because I think each book costs the same as like a normal paperback, and these are really thin.
They also have Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Super cute read if you want to read a book that feels like you're chatting with a bestie.
And then they also had Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Read this on KU because the physical copy I think was like $20 at Barnes & Noble. I bought it still. If I would have known I could read it on KU, I would have done that. They also have Gothicana, which would be perfect for this time of year. That one's by Runex, and it's like perfect gothic atmospheric vibes.
So those were all the books that we wrote down today. Let us know if you want a part 3 because we could definitely do that. Maybe we could even do like a Kindle Unlimited reading vlog and just read KU books for the weekend. But let us know if we missed any recommendations. Leave your favorites down below in the comments.
Reminder as always to join our Literal Besties book club if you haven't already. That link will be in the description. This month we are currently reading Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, so make sure to join. That's pretty much it for today's video though, so thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys next time. Like, you're gonna steal my diary? Give me back my dream journal!
Oh my god, what is that from?
Shark Boy and Lava Girl. He messed up my dream journal! Linus!
They also have the first 3 books.